Welcome to Win with lifestyle entrepreneurs Josh Williams and Justin Knoll. Each week, we will be bringing you inspiring people or messages to help you win in every aspect of life. Here we go.
Ready?
We all looked at each other, went live. We're like, yo,
What are we doing here?
shoot. Waiting for James to bring the intro in, dude. What? You didn't,
James,
you
look
didn't
at
hear
that,
your
man.
roll or what? Come on, man.
Camera shy is what I am.
I love it, man. Well, hey, welcome out, everybody. Today we've got, this is actually the first week, I think, of our actual new name, right?
Yes.
Win is the new name of the podcast.
Win
Success
podcast.
leaves clues is the slogan for now. We'll change that as we go, but we're excited about that. We're
Yeah.
excited. I think it's going to look great, and the meaning behind it is really what brings it out. So
Absolutely. So you've seen what we brought on before as far as guests go. These are people that are moving and shaking, getting things done. They have a plan, and they're sharing what their ideas and plans are and how they're getting through and actually winning in life. So today is no different, my friend.
No.
So I'm excited.
I am excited as well. Today we've got James Ryan. You guys have probably seen the post I put on a little bit lately. Chief and editor of the Denver Real Producers magazine. Do you call it a magazine? What do you call it?
It's a magazine.
Yeah, that's
It's
what I
a
call it. You know,
legitimate magazine.
in
It's a
today's world,
legitimate-
people
yeah.
might call it something different. Like,
Right.
well, that's I don't even know. That's our picture.
It's
print.
not a newsletter.
Yeah.
It's actually a magazine. Right.
No, it's awesome, man. And I met you the first time probably about a year and a half ago.
Yep.
Came in my office. I was completely like, that dude is a stud. And I'm not ready to get in that right now.
Who's this guy? You
Right.
didn't know who
I'm
I am.
like, dude, this guy's
You
awesome,
kicked me out the
but
door. Yeah.
guess what? I have no money. So, but then this funny thing is, man, I started growing. I saw how well the magazine was doing. Obviously, you had people like Justin on. You've had so many big names on there that are just phenomenal people that you've done business with or brought them into your magazine. And then I had to start chasing you because I'm like, gosh, dang it, I need to find a way to get in here because I realized what you were building was so dynamic that it didn't matter.
Thanks, buddy.
Affordability. It was like, this is a must. You got to get in. It's one of those things that you have to jump on. So with that being said, we are super excited to have you here today to
a
talk about
privilege.
kind of, where you came from, things you've accomplished, where you're headed, where this is headed. So why we do that, I told people just what I know. Introduce yourself, tell them a little bit about you, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's good to be hanging with you guys and doing a little chatting on Friday afternoon.
Yep.
It's a privilege and an honor to be here, and I respect you guys both immensely, and we'll have some fun today.
Absolutely.
How far
yeah.
back do you want me to go?
Man, whatever matters.
Third grade?
I was
Yeah.
born
Third
back
grade.
in.
Where does it start for you? I mean,
All started in third grade.
That's right.
No, but I'm a Denver guy and born and raised here in the south part of town. So Denver has been home and probably always will be home for me.
Yeah.
I did leave for a little while. I was back east for college and did a little stint on Wall Street. So this is the career I'm in now is a very different career from where I've come from.
Yeah.
Or where I started. It's actually my third career. I have been in the world of real estate for a while in a very different role. I worked for a private equity company after I went to business school over at DU, and we were funding big developments in town. So I've always had a passion for real estate, and I've always had a little bit of an entrepreneurial spirit. And I guess to get where I am today, as far as this publication, there was an interim step, and about 6 years ago now, it'll be 6 years, I think, in July, I quit my job and hooked up with a group out of North Carolina called N2 Publishing, and I got into the world of niche publishing. And I was doing a different product for that company that did put me in touch with realtors here in Denver in a very different light than my interaction with realtors like yourself now, Justin.
Yeah.
Realtors, and particularly high-producing realtors, were my customers. They would buy advertising from me in a different type of product that I was publishing and producing at the time. And then about 2 years ago, it'll be 2 years in March, I made a transition and we started a new product here in town, Denver Real Producers.
Just for those watching on Facebook.
This handsome guy right there.
Yeah. Who's on the cover? Woo,
yeah,
that was
that's a lot of Photoshop right there.
That was a few months back, and that was how I got to know Justin. He was kind enough to share his time with us, let us take a couple pictures of him, and certainly cover worthy. And I carry this magazine around all the time because Justin carries weight in this town, and when I get to show off that Justin was on the cover of my magazine, I feel pretty good about myself.
In more ways than one.
I was going to let it go, but I saw your face. I'm like, well, we talked about, the cut and paste on here and the photo imaging. Yeah. I'm like, what, they shade off like 50?
Yeah.
Can we make that happen for me today?
Photoshop's powerful these days. Yeah.
I love it.
But it's been a ton of fun, and certainly happy to share with you guys, a little bit about, how we operate and what we do. Yeah. It is a peculiar story. It's an interesting story about how people like myself, and I'm an independent contractor, with the mothership company out of North Carolina. So we all make or break our own success. But how people like myself, there's a lot of us around the country doing different types of products under that flag. When I quit my job 6 years ago and went into the world of print media. I had some pretty smart people think that I'd lost my mind, and some of the things around that story I think have led to some of our success and how we do a different type of print media.
Yeah.
And certainly happy to go into that today at some point. But it's been a great experience for me. I love being involved in this community, in this industry, both with the agents and with the great vendors and affiliated businesses like Josh. That are supporting and doing business with high-end realtors, and it's a privilege to know you, buddy. You're a great business partner, and I enjoy working with people like you. And it's really cool for me today because I've got two sides of the coin in my business. Where the guy on my right is what I call content and people that we're trying to talk about in the publication, and then the guy on my left here is a business partner. It's a friendship, but also a business relationship as well. Absolutely. So I got both sides of what I do here.
Yeah. So how is the magazine going? I mean, what's the traction? Are people really starting to get it? And really, because I can speak from my personal experience, I see it in a lot of real estate offices. I'm in and out of a lot of them. And I see it kind of all over the place, and I see a lot of social media presence. But how's it really going? Are you on track for where you want to be, or how's that working in relation to your goals?
We are on track, and I would even say ahead of track of where we wanted to be at this point in time. And I attribute that to the great people that I work with. And I think it all starts when you're in the world that I'm in, which whether it's print publishing or whether it's print media or any type of media, I do consider myself in the world of media. Yeah. And what I think matters today, I won't go too far down the rabbit hole of what media is in 2019, but it's very different. And our success comes from having good content and having good things to talk about. Yeah. There's a lot of media in the world today, more than there ever has been, because of the digital age we're in. And there's a lot of what I call noise out there, and the only way you cut through that noise is with great content, and that stems from the great agents that we talk to in this town.
Yeah. That's one thing I was just scribbling down is I think what we've seen on the marketing side is this transition to a story now, right? It used to be you could just sell with bullet points, and that's gone. That's history. Yep. So I think the story is so good, and I think what you do so well is you capture the essence of the person's story. And you don't just, so many of these read like an obituary, like Justin started real estate in 2000, and then
right.
And you're just snoring by the end, right? And it's just so not compelling. But I love the approach of the storytelling side of it. Is that on purpose? Is that because you did your homework, or is that just because that's how it comes across?
It's on purpose.
Yeah.
It comes from an experience that we've had in another product that I did. The world of residential real estate, people know who great agents are in this town, but it's a lot of times it's by reputation. And anybody that goes in our magazine, and this is by design too, anybody that's in our magazine is a top producer in this town. Yeah. It is being done. We are selecting agents to talk about based on merit. Okay. But we don't want to. So it just goes without saying, everybody in here is a high producer. But I don't want to talk about what your production was last year. Or things like that. That's boring. Everybody knows that people do a lot of production. There's real people behind this. And, you brought your wife, you brought your mom to the photo shoot. We've had people that bring their dogs. We like to shoot people in their homes. We want to get to know, there's a story behind every agent. And we want to get to the bottom of that. At the end of the day, we're trying to build relationships.
Which is huge. I mean, that's what we do in all aspects of our business, right? And then you guys are trying to relay that through the storytelling, as Justin was saying. The other thing is, I noticed, yes, you guys have the print, right, which is the nuts and bolts of what you guys do. But you also have like Justin had mentioned earlier, a lot of social media content that is coming up. I mean, I see you guys all the time coming through on my Facebook feed or Instagram, whatever it might be. How do you guys know? This is the tough question, I think, for most people out there today is, how do you guys know how to balance that? I mean, you have this nuts and bolts, but then you have the social media content. How do you know where to balance that?
We've been doing it for a while. I cannot take all the credit for it. We have a formula. We think we know what works. I'm going to steal an analogy that comes... Well, let me start by saying this.
Let me just tell you, we steal a lot of those on here, so you're good.
Everything's stolen on here, including these microphones.
It is 2019. You have to be in the digital world. Okay, you have to be. But everybody is. And so I do think that the print aspect is a differentiator for us. And I'm going to steal this analogy from my buddy. He does the magazine down in North Carolina, down in the Triangle area. If you take a look at the Star Wars franchise, a lot of the money's being made in Star Wars around things that are, the merchandising, the Disney, all that stuff. But none of that stuff exists without the movie.
Right.
I think Disney just bought the Star Wars franchise for a few $1 billion. They are not going to make that money back on ticket sales for movies. It's on all the other stuff. But there is no ride at Disney, and there is no toy at Christmas for your kid without the movie. And so the magazine is, it's essential to what we do. It will never go anywhere. And in fact, we've poured a lot of money into it, and you all are going to start seeing some changes in the physical aspect of the magazine this year, which will be great. And we've poured a lot of money into that. We also do have a pretty frothy Facebook page. I do have help with that. I'm a little old to be on Facebook every day. But so I got a great partner here in town. A lot of you know him. I think he's been on this show. Hey, Mr. Media. I'll give him a little shout out. He is doing my social media for me, and I'm thankful for his partnership because I'm a consumer of Facebook, not a poster of Facebook. But he takes our content and he presents it in a way that it can be easily consumed by the market.
No, that's good. I'm glad we work with him as well because I've watched. He's done very, very good about your post, when to post, strategically doing it. It's been great. So a lot of people that might not be in places that can pick up the actual movie and see the movie, right? They now have the ability to see the trailers and the different things that are in there, which might direct them, like, how do I get the content? So I love that piece of it. I think it's awesome.
And we've actually got, I'll give a little preview to what's coming. We have a bigger social media, or a bigger digital platform coming. And that'll be released here in the next 4 to 6 weeks, and we'll be pushing that out. We have invested quite a bit of money. We have an app coming. So financial restrictions keep me from producing 100,000 publications every month. But I want everybody to see the magazine. I want everybody to know about the great agents that are in this town. So we have developed an app, and it is proprietary to us. We developed it specifically for this product where people will be able to go through, read the magazine on an app, not just a website. And there's going to be some really cool interactions that will give a lot of support and publicity to our great partners like Josh over at Universal Lending. Also let the agents interact through the magazine in a pretty cool way. So it'll be free to the marketplace, free to everybody. We're going to push it pretty hard. This is the core
that
of
little
what we
magic
do.
word right there, that free.
Free.
Everybody here free, right? I mean, Coral's dancing in the background over there. We got yes.
So yeah, Facebook is great. We're working on Instagram, but the app is going to be a game changer, and it's going to be sweet.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I love that approach because that's where we are.
Yeah.
90% of the time. If you're in a room
Yep.
full of realtors, just look at what they're doing, head down on the phone, so go where
Yeah.
they
Right.
are.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
But it is
Smart
important to
move.
know, and I'll just say it again, the magazine's not going anywhere. People
Good.
want it, and as I've been leaking this out to a bunch of agents recently about this cool new digital app that's coming, everybody says, "Oh, you're not getting rid of the magazine, are you?"
Correct, yeah.
And absolutely not. This is the trophy of what we do.
Isn't it funny though how like everybody, this morning I had an Instagram class in my office, right? Everybody wants to be so good at social media, but they're like, please don't get rid of the magazine, right?
Yeah.
We want to be able to touch it. I mean, if you go in my office and you look on my desk and my foyer, that's what's, or not our desk, our table in there. That's what's on there, right? Is my episodes that you send me every month from the Denver World Producers.
Yeah.
That's what people can look through. It's great content. We love it. So you said one thing earlier that kind of sparked my attention. You said, "Hey, I'm going into print media," and everybody was like, "What the hell are you doing?"
Right.
Right. So
Right.
I want to know what your mindset was at that point. How were you like, "Hey, here's the naysayers. I'm still going to go get it, and I'm going to make this work." How did you get past that hurdle?
Well, I initially was suspect myself, to be honest, and I got lucky. I knew some people that were in the industry already, so I was able to sit down and have some pretty frank conversations with them. And then I did some of my own research, and it is true that dollars spent on print media in America has been growing and growing annually for the last 20 years. It
Wow.
grows at about a 3 or 4% clip.
Holy
So the money is there in print media. We do think it will stay there. Now, the thing that I will say is print media is changing. It is not
Yeah.
dying, but it's changing drastically. Some very big media, print media, whether it's newspapers or magazines, are struggling greatly. Some in our own town. I grew up in this town with 2 newspapers, Rocky Mountain News
Yep.
and Denver Post, and,
Yep.
and we've
Sad.
got one of them's gone now, and the other one's owned by an out of town private equity firm.
Yeah.
So the economics around print media are changing, but what our belief in it is, and the way that the industry is changing, is that it's becoming hyper-local. And the example I give on that is all 3 of us here, we got cell phones on the table. If we want to see what's going on in Washington, in the politics, or we want to know what's going on with the Denver Broncos, we can pull it up on our phone.
Right.
And the print media that is thriving in this day and age has unique content that you can't get anywhere else. So we've got great writers in Denver. I love some of the old sports writers that I grew up with in Denver, and they have great insight into what's going on with the Broncos.
Yeah.
But I can get that on ESPN.com.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the content we try to create is unique, and we try to say that you can't get the content anywhere else.
I think of the state of the Broncos and the state of Washington. I'd much rather read what's going on in the Denver Real Producers right now.
Both in turmoil, right? Yeah.
What a week.
We love our Broncos, though. Yeah.
That's it. That's it. Oh, that's awesome.
relationship.
So, all right. So you grew up in Colorado.
Grew up in Colorado.
Took a little time off. Went and spent some time doing the college thing. Got back here. Now you've got this going. You're working on the app part of it. What else is going on?
Just trying to grow bigger and serve our audience more.
Yeah.
We take a very service-oriented attitude about the way that we do this, and don't want to give away all of our secrets, but some of the way that we're set up monetarily has been important to our success, and I think that's one of the reasons that we've captured the attention of the real estate agents in this town, is that I don't take any money from them.
Yeah.
And that's something for the audience here to know that we're talking about. I want to meet the best agents in town.
Correct.
I want to tell their story. Now, I want them to take this and turn it into a marketing opportunity and promote themselves, but I do wake up every morning with the thought that I'm here to promote and recognize the best realtors in Denver. And when I put them ahead of myself, I got a goofy little picture in this magazine in one place, and that's all, and that's fine for me. This isn't about me. It's about the people that we're talking about. It's about the people in the industry. And when I take the position that I'm trying to be a storyteller for this great industry, rather than be a cool magazine guy, then things work. So there's a lot of great agents in town, only so many hours in the day, so I'm just trying to meet as many great agents as I can and tell their stories, and I really do enjoy that people aspect of the industry.
And as somebody that was, you approached and said, hey, I want to talk about you coming on this, and my initial thought was, okay, what is this going to cost me? And at that point, it's a pay to play, and I think it's
Correct.
disingenuous. It's like it's all these awards. We get these 5-star awards, and like, oh, you won. You're like, cool. And then they're like, oh, and you can get all this stuff for, you know, all these dollars, and you can market it and all this.
Right.
Now you're just selling me something, but I really, really could not tell you how appreciative I was that and it wasn't about the money. It was about your approach to saying, look, this is about telling the story, not about getting money extracted from you to tell your story, which I think comes through in a more genuine way in the publication. So kudos to you for building that business model, because I think if you took it the other direction, you wouldn't get the people you want. Right. And it's not because they can't afford it, it's because I don't want to spend on something that appears that I'm just paying for to be a part of. So I love that approach. So one thing that really captivated me about you, my friend, was when I asked, we sat down and we just kind of chit-chatted, and you were interviewing me, and there was some bit of interviewing you, I think, and we were just asking each other questions, getting to know each other, which was super fun. But one of the things that really struck me was you have not been doing this in Denver very long, but you have already created your own brand. Aside from Denver Real Producers as its own brand, but James Ryan has built a brand here, and within 2 years, I don't know many top producing realtors that in 2 years can create a brand and a name and recognition in the space that you have. What happened? Did you just target the right people? Did you get lucky? Did you have a specific plan? And how does that equate to our audience who's maybe trying to expand their brand? But dude, I still look at it and go, how the hell did this happen so quickly? Any insight on what happened? And
you know, all of the above. Of course, there's some luck involved. I certainly cannot take credit for. I was trained very well by the founders of our company, who really do have this attitude of storytelling and being about the readership in some of the other products that we do. So a lot of that went into it. I did ramp the magazine up and start it, but I also had a game. The path was written for me a little bit, so I did have a little bit of guidance in how to get there. Obviously, you got to roll with the punches that come here in a local market, starting it, but we really just try to be of certain. Now, of course, I got to pay my rent, right? And so there is a business behind this. And there's a sales part to this. And so I relate very well to realtors, to loan officers, to title reps, to the people that are all involved in the magazine. I got to sell stuff.
Yeah.
I don't make a salary from a publishing company. So that is the other side of this business. But when I put the storytelling and the content and the people ahead of it, the sales become a lot easier. Yeah. And I try to do that. There's more to sales than, your numbers and all this and that. And if you actually are sincere about both your clients and your subject matter, then I think this industry has married those two very well. And I'm just kind of sitting in the middle of a bunch of great people, like Josh and like yourself. Because without Josh, none of this happens.
Right.
And another very important aspect to what we do is while we do talk to the greatest realtors in Denver, based on our business plan, which I won't give all of the secrets to, we do work with the best loan officers in Denver. We do work with the best title reps in Denver, and we work with the best affiliated vendors around the world of residential real estate. And there is a model to that. And I do not take business from any loan officer in Denver. I go out and we're very selective about who we invite. I'm not selling an ad here.
Yeah.
I bring Josh. Josh and I have a partnership.
Yeah.
And I told him sincerely when I sat down with him that I'm not trying to sell you an ad, buddy. I'm trying to have a partner, and I want to work with you for the next 10 years.
Right. Yeah. And
so in addition to the cool things we do with the realtors, the other side of my business is a customer service business. I have paying clients. Mm-hmm. And we're fortunate that people have been faithful to us and are loyal to us. But I know that it's easy come, easy go, and that if I'm not impressing Josh and delivering what I tell him I'm going to deliver and making it a true partnership, that those days will end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some really great things though that you do within that. And so one of the great things I want to point out first of all is that through your storytelling, you're selling, right? So he's selling without selling, which is what I wish everybody would understand. specifically in the lender industry, we go and try to sell real estate agents on why they should use us every single day. And it is a sell for most people. Most people get in there and start talking about their company, how great their company is. Guess what, guys? Every mortgage company closes mortgages. That's why they're called a mortgage company, okay?
Exactly.
So, if you're not going to tell them the story about you and how you can relate to them, and then they're not buying from you. They're not giving you the referrals that you need, right?
Correct.
One of the great things I love about what you did is you go and develop those relationships. It's not, hey, this is why you should be in this, Josh, because we do a top producer and you can look at 100 different names that you now need to go do research on. You're giving me the story behind the magazine, which is attracting me to working with you and being a business partner with you.
Yep.
That is what is the good there. Now, your business model is genius because there's a bunch of lenders out there that will spend some money to get as much as, around these amazing real estate agents that we can, and you need those people, right? But you know how many of those guys will do that? Thousands.
There's a lot.
And you are very selective about bringing the best in, and that is one thing that I have to give you kudos for because it's not only about just the bigger dollar.
Right.
It's about making sure this magazine and what you're doing here is actually a very, very good product. That is one thing that I am so happy with what if you go and look through this magazine, it is all top people. So it's not just top real estate agents, it's all top people within the industry.
Correct.
That is amazing. So this is like the quality is phenomenal. And that is one thing that if you're not paying attention to this and you're in the real estate market, you need to because this magazine is phenomenal when it comes to that.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you saying that, buddy. And a little bit of that is we took a page out of the way that we observed the world of high producing real estate agents and the way that they interacted with their business partners. And I don't want to speak for Justin, but I think that the people that do title and mortgage and all of his other people, they're partners for him. Yeah. And so when we look at how agents interact with their vendors and partners, sure, there's a monetary transaction there, and there's something that's transactional about it, but it's all based on relationships. And I see the effort that great loan officers like yourself go to serve their clients. You and I do very similar things. I try to take a page out of your book. You're trying to serve your client. I'm trying to serve you. And if you don't have that relationship with the agents you work for, there are a couple thousand other dudes in this town that they can go to. Yeah. And in your world, it's easy come, easy go as well. Yep. And so I know you wake up with a customer service mindset every day, and I do the same. And that's how I try to interact with my clients. And
I love it.
And we also want to know from people like Justin, there's a lot of great loan officers in Denver. There's a lot of loan officers in Denver, but it is important to me to know from the great agents that I work with, who do they think the best is? That's who I want to talk to. I could very easily sit down and Google the LOs in Denver and start on a cold calling campaign and save myself some time. But I look at the longevity of the product I'm building and the relationships and what I want to do for an extended period of time in town, and that's when it comes back to me looking for partners, not advertisers. So I want to know who all these agents that I love and respect and put in the magazine, I want to know who they think the best in town is. Right. And that's why you and I got together, because more than a couple people speak so highly of you, and you are one of the best in town.
I love it. Thanks, man.
He's all right.
I'm okay.
He's all right.
I do my thing. Shoot.
So, dude, you're on the front lines of this. One thing I'm interested in is, what do you see as a common thread between the people that are on the cover and in this magazine that you're interviewing? Is there some commonalities that you see that they're either committed to, or there's something in their life that's happened that's motivated them, or is there anything that kind of ties them all together?
That's a tough question.
Sorry.
That's a tough question. I wish I'd had a little advance notice on that one.
We'll come back.
It's really
well, guess what? You did it.
I will say this. I will say that it's interesting for me to... This is one of the cool things about my job is that, and people ask me this all the time, they say, do you have another angle here, James? Like, are you really an agent? Like, is there something you're trying to do here? Are you a realtor? And I tell everybody, never been an agent and never will be. I'll go pick up golf balls on the golf course before being an agent. I respect you guys a ton. I don't know that I could ever do what you do. Every agent that I meet, it's really cool to see how a lot of you guys set up your businesses in different ways. Yeah. There is more than one way to skin that cat. But every agent that I meet that is a top producer that goes in the magazine, they're really working hard. Yep. They're based in relationships. They do serve their clients. They are not transactional. Of course, there's a transaction with a house, but they don't treat their clients as a transaction.
I love this.
And they're present. That is something else that's pretty cool. They're very present in their industry. They're involved in things. They are, and they understand that it's hard work. And they understand that at the end of the day, you gotta hustle. It is a sales job. You gotta go out. You gotta get listings. Not everybody has a Range Rover and can hang out in Cherry Hills,
right.
And just sell big houses. You gotta stomp the street, and you gotta work hard.
Yeah.
But I do think it's that attitude of serving clients and being present. People that come in the magazine, a lot of people in the magazine, you see them around town. They're the people that are just dedicating themselves to their craft.
Yeah. That's so cool. So it's a higher level of commitment, really.
It is a higher level of commitment. Yeah. There's a lot of real estate agents in this town. I understand you guys are in a very competitive industry.
47,000 plus real estate licenses in Colorado, 25,600 realtors. It's immense, the competition.
It's immense.
It's crazy. So.
Yep. But
yeah.
But the good one, the cream rises to the top, though. It really does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah, those numbers are a bit jarring when you're like, oh.
I mean, on the LO side of it, there's something like 16,000 loan officers, right? We've heard that 5,000 have pulled their license in the last, 6 months or so because things got a little tougher. Those that don't know how to go and build relationships, like we've been talking about, and that just goes for any industry, right? Those that don't know how to build relationships, when it's all based on a monetary piece of it, at some point that goes away, right. And then what are you left with, right? So we've had 5,000 pull out, is what I've heard of, and so still leaves us with like 11,000 licensed loan officers in the state of Colorado. Now, some of those might be, some of those high-end ones that are based in Chicago or Arizona that are licensed out here, but bottom line is there's a ton. You have to find a way to set yourself apart. The one thing I love that you said is being present in the industry. So I want to throw that out to Justin and be like, hey, what do you guys do to be present in the industry? Because that's a big thing to be. That's a big word, actually being present and being realistic with that.
Yeah, I think it's beyond. You said it best, and I kind of gave the thumbs up when you said it's not transactional, right? And so many realtors and so many just agents out there are just focused on the transaction, and that's their mode of success. That's how they gauge if they're successful or not, is how many deals they're doing. And what I found is such a scarcity mindset. So for us, it's get out and volunteer, get out and be in your community, put your money where your mouth is, and actually go with people that you want to serve and beyond, and serve the people that they're trying to serve. So it's getting out of yourself, it's getting out of the office, it's getting out of transaction land. It's setting up systems that allows you to do that. I mean, that's what we harp on here at Madison, is just create systems and processes that allow you to go be present somewhere else, right? Because that's when you're going to build those most genuine relationships, which leads to the best and highest referral rates. And it's a cyclical thing. Specifically, for us, it's, on the real estate association side, I'm a nerd about that, the realtor association side. You don't have to go there. It's just do something in your community, I think, is the biggest thing. And it's something that I know we push here dramatically. It's an expectation of pretty much everybody here in our company that you're doing something beyond, because nobody wants a realtor that's all they do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to work with somebody that has passion for something else in life too. Real estate can't be your only passion. If it is, it kind of turns people off, I think. And they get a little bit nervous, like, oh, this is all you do? Now, they want you to be capable, but what else? What are the depths of your soul and who you are? And I think that when you're able to tell your story in this vehicle, it's amazing when people connect and say, I don't just sell homes, but I do all this other stuff. It's like people attach themselves to the other stuff more than the real estate side. So those are things that I know I focus on. I know our company focuses on, but I'm glad that comes through, because we can make more. We can have more influence and make more positive change when we're not just thinking of the transaction. Yeah, it's so shallow. So,
James, what does your day look like, man? You're hustling. All the time. Most of your stuff is getting out and being in front of people and doing those things, being visible. What does your day look like?
Good question. It changes every day. I do have some nuts and bolts things that get done on the back end of this that are more just got to take the steps, and it's almost administrative. But I've got a great back office in North Carolina where a lot of this happens, and I've got some great support, which is really important. I did not come from a background of journalism or design, so we've got designers and photographers and writers and a great back office. We got a new print shop out of Dallas, Texas. Just a little shout out to what's coming. We're going perfect bound on this magazine. So for those that know the magazine world, this thing is what we call saddle stitch. It's stapled in the middle, but we're going to be like the cool Vogue and Vanity Fair magazines out there now. So we've got a great print shop out of Texas. So there's some of that stuff that happens on the back end. But as far as what I do in the community, it's one of two things. It's meeting with agents.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, this doesn't happen if I'm not meeting with great agents and building those relationships and it's sincere. I mean, I just tell them, I say, we just want to tell your story. And the lucky thing, and I'm going to give Justin a little crap for this. The one thing that we love about agents is agents love attention.
Yes.
So it does make my job a little bit easier. And it is a competitive industry. I am aware of how it works. It's a sales job. I'm in the world of sales, and people love to be recognized. We all have a little bit of ego.
Sure.
So that's kind of cool in that we do that. But there's nothing without meeting the great agents and telling their story. And then the other side of it is, I want to meet with the best people that are in a role surrounding those agents. And there's a lot of people in a lot of really cool industries. Loan officers and title and home builders are some of the people that come to mind right off the top. But there's a lot of people out there doing a lot of really cool things that are helping to support people like Justin and all the great agents in this town, from staging and insurance and sewer cleaning and roofing and everybody that at the end of the day makes a buck around the world of residential real estate. I want to know who those people are in town.
Yeah.
And so it's cool because I get to have a little bit of a social job, and I just get to go and hang out with people like yourself. At the end of the day, we gotta do some business, but I just want to meet the people that are making the industry work. And I don't consider myself a part of the industry. I consider myself sort of the window into the industry and telling the stories about the industry. And I actually really like that. I like my position in it, in that, listen, if I went away tomorrow, you guys would both, business would go on for you guys. And I realize that. And so I do have that service mentality that, the people don't need me, but hopefully they want me. And when it goes down like that, I think cool things happen.
I think you've definitely established yourself as somebody that people want to be around, want to be recognized in, and not just for the publication, but I go to these events, right? So you do these real producer events, and you have them in these very sexy locations, and they're so cool and so much fun to be a part of, and you look around, and I remember being at the top of Del Frisco's, and I was standing in a corner, and I looked over, I'm like, holy, this is a room. I mean, this is a rooftop full of, I don't know who's selling homes right now, because everybody's on this rooftop right now in Denver.
Thanks for saying that, buddy.
And you were the center point of that, and I appreciate your humility and you're humble, but this doesn't happen without somebody that's excited and passionate about it, and that comes through. So yes, we may continue on in our jobs, but there will be a void at this point. I think what you've built is, there's an expectation this is going to be around. There's an expectation that it's being seen and read and being at the events now. And if it does go away, there would be a void, more than probably any publication I've seen in my 19 years of doing this. And that's just in 2 years, my friend. So,
well, I appreciate you saying that. And, this is a good opportunity. If you don't mind, I'd like to ask you a question.
Please.
As the readership and as my audience, I do always concern myself with making sure I'm delivering what the people want. And at the end of the day, I can think it's great, but if I don't have the eyeballs on it, nothing works.
Right.
And so let me take this opportunity to ask you, as you look through the next year or 2 years or 3 years, what would you like to see us doing in the publication to better serve your industry, and what are some things that I can look to do to give the readership what they desire?
I think for you, it would be, you've positioned yourself as this third person, right, who's just here to help tell stories. But when I sit here and ask you things like, what things do you notice, the traits of others, I would love an editorials perspective on this industry and what top producers are doing together and what common threads. So yes, let us tell our story. But I think if you take all that and you start creating a story and editorialize or have somebody else write it for you and just say, here's what all this means. Here's something else I'm learning. Because don't just let the magazine of us telling our story be the content.
Right.
Take it, own it, and say, here's what I've learned from all this on a monthly basis. So it really engages us back to go, this dude is more plugged in than I am. I meet agents daily, but I don't have as much info as you do.
Yeah, that's great feedback.
So I would love, just take ownership of it and be like, don't be so humble and say, well, I don't know. You guys got to figure it out. Bullshit. You know as well as we do what people are doing. Right. So tell that story from your perspective. I think that would be huge. I would love to read that.
That's interesting, and I appreciate you saying that.
So,
and
sorry. I just created more work for you. Sorry.
Yeah, thanks for no. I mean, the world moves fast.
Yes.
And you got to adapt. And if I just sat back and just started punching these things out without, I need to have a growth mindset as well. I know that both of you guys in your business always do, and it's something that I take very seriously. That I need to get better. We do have some really cool new things that are coming. Some things for our clients to better their experience. But at the end of the day, Josh is unhappy if the eyeballs go off of the magazine, and so. It's the two edges of that sword, and I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good.
I think
good
Justin
feedback.
hit it right on the head there. Though, it's like seriously at that particular night we're in Del Frisco's, and you're looking around, and it was the cream of the crop, man. I mean, it was some of the best people I've ever been around. Here's the thing: is a lot of those people want to know each other, even though they're the top people, because they know they can learn from each other, they can get better. That's why there's so many masterminds going around and that type of stuff. That's where I also see, I mean, you could be a huge player in that, right? There's so many people that want the ability. I love that Justin knows that he's good, but he still has so much more to obtain and learn within his life, and not just in real estate, but just in general. How do we do things differently? How do I manage my real estate and balance everything, right? And so to hear those things and then know that you have the ability to draw those people. Do you know how many lenders try to draw that many top quality people in all the time? All the time. You know how many successful? Not very many. Right? So it is phenomenal what you've done. And so here's what I want to know. How do you deal with so many egos, right? We talked about egos, right? And we're a very ego-driven industry. I mean, we talk about how to manage people with egos. We've all pretty much self-made ourselves within this business for the most part, most of us, right?
Yep.
How do you deal with those people, and how do you get them to realize, hey, look, I'm trying to get you to tell a story, right? Or I'm trying to get you to buy in so that we can get people to tell stories to get you in front of people. How do you deal with that?
You know, we all have egos, and I actually, I don't run into a ton of bad ego in this. And I will say one thing that I've noticed that is a common trait amongst, and we all know the numbers. Justin, you said it was 40-some thousand agents, 20-some thousand realtors. I don't know the exact numbers, but I know that it's very high, that there are a lot of agents and realtors in this town that aren't doing anything at all. This is there's an old adage in sales, 80-20. 20% of the people make 80% of the money. I do not see that in residential real estate.
95.5.
95.5. Yeah, exactly. So I feel lucky I get to rub, I'm very deliberate about the agents that I talk to.
Sure.
All the agents that I talk to have one thing in common, and that is that they are humble. They've all got big egos, but they're all willing to share, they're willing to learn, and they're willing to teach. And I talked to an agent a couple weeks ago, and this person said, there are no secrets in this business, and everybody's trying to there's a secret sauce, and basically what she said, I will tell any agent in this town exactly what I do every day and how I built my business and how I continue to grow my business and get business, and 98% of them won't do it.
Won't do it.
Right.
Yep.
So there are, the people that are trying to beat the market or have secrets and want to be very insular, those aren't the people that are making it. And I know that great agents are also in positions to mentor, to teach young agents. That's how they stay sharp. And people that are willing to give back to their industry, I find, are also top producers.
So cool.
They have a great attitude of giving back and of sharing and of wanting to be stewards of the industry. I do think that is one common thread.
I love that, man. Well, tell me, I want to know about some of your non-negotiables. What are some of the things that, like, in James' world, like, hey, this has to happen. I have to make this happen. What are some things that are for
more
you?
personal,
On a
I think,
personal
right?
side, yeah.
I'm more interested on the personal side now because I want to know you as not just doing this.
What are my non-negotiables? I have a certain number of days every year that I need to go down to Florida and go saltwater fly fishing. Like, at the end of the day, that's my passion. You know? So, I'm not trying to be, I'm not trying to be the greatest magazine guy that ever lived. I'm very lucky to have found an industry and a job where, and I've had some cool jobs in life, and I've done some cool things, and this is a third, I would call it a third career for me, and I'm in my early 40s, and so I still consider myself a fairly young man, yeah. But I have passions outside of this, and one of those was wanting to work for myself, and I've left good opportunities to go do this, so it's something that I've always wanted to do, and that's work for myself. And there's some fear that went with that when I left a salaried job and went to a commission-based business. Right. But ultimately, it's what makes me happy. Yeah. You know, this is a vehicle for me to do some other cool things in life that I like to do. I'm an adventurous guy, and I like to go skiing, and fly fishing is my current passion, and I do that. But I really enjoy the freedom that comes with this, and I enjoy the people aspect of it. And you and I touched on that a little bit earlier. A couple of the past jobs that I've had, which were cool jobs, were very behind a computer, crunching numbers, raising money. I was a trader on Wall Street, but
it's crazy.
I like hanging with dudes like you. I like meeting people, and I like hearing their stories. And I can be a little bit of a shy guy, but I like talking to other people, and that's ultimately what's fun about this for me. And my hope is that some of the genuineness in that comes across, and that's what helps make the magazine go.
You've nailed it, man. I mean, it's going. It has legs beyond what I think anybody expected. You've got an audience that's captive. We're waiting. I always wait. Who's next on the cover? Right? I'm like, what do we got going next? It's like, I don't have any other publications in my life that I'm that excited to figure out who is coming on the cover or is going to be written up in it. And it's just so cool, man. And I love your passion for it. And I can't wait to see where this thing goes. I'm so excited. And Denver needed this.
Appreciate your support.
Yeah, I mean, we needed to be not recognized to be recognized, but we needed a place where we could have a place to tell our stories and share with each other outside of just the closing table or networking opportunities, but to really have something you can touch and feel and reflect on later and read over and over. And that's been huge for me. I've read several issues over and over and just learn more about people. And it's awesome. I'm so thrilled.
At the end of the day, we want to have some fun too. Like we're all out there
so
grinding, and like the three of us, we're all in the same world where we eat what we kill.
Yep.
And so that's a grind. And at the end of the day, that's not what we're put on earth here to do. Is just work and pay bills. And so I want to have a little fun with it too, and meet some cool people, hang out with some cool dudes, and throw some good parties.
Yeah.
And if at the end of the day,
good right
if we can make a buck at it at the end of the day, what the heck, So, we just want to have a little bit of fun with it and be around good people.
Yeah.
Well, you said we eat what we kill, so I want to talk about our fat kid moment of the week. Hey,
so James, every week we have somebody on. We talk about our fat kid moment of the week. Now, we struggle, right? I mean, Josh and I are snackers.
You saw my buttons popping off when I walked in, right? We struggle.
Buttons are hanging on for dear life today. Just kidding. But we share. We share. We own it. We don't apologize for the fact that I ate cookies last night again. But we share one moment from each week where we're just like, you walk away from that moment going, what just happened? What did I do?
Yeah.
Why did I go eat half a sleeve of Oreos at 10 at night? Why would I do such a thing?
Right.
Josh has been on a run, hopefully literally and figuratively, of doing better. I've tried.
Been on a run of being a fat kid for a long time. And we're very strategic about always putting someone skinny between us, right? So we're very good about doing that. So I'll just tell you guys, so my fat kid moment, or I'm going to say my fat kid day of the week was yesterday. I mean, yes, I've been doing better, been eating better. My wife has been just killing it at home with these meals. She got this cookbook from Piper, Justin's wife, my cousin, and she's been killing it. So, I was like, I feel pretty good. My buttons yesterday weren't popping off with me just sitting down. So I'm like, well, I'm past the McDonald's for breakfast, and I said, I'm not going to eat there. But if I see another one on my way to my destination, that means I was meant to pull over and get some breakfast. So about 2 minutes before my next stop, there was a McDonald's. I'm like, well, shit. Got myself, I believe it's a number 2, sausage McMuffin with egg, hash brown, and orange juice. That was breakfast, right?
Yep.
Well, then we get done, and lunch is coming up. And I'm like, well, I got to grab something on the way back. Yes, I could grab a salad, but, well, there's Taco Bell. So this is bad, right? So I've got McDonald's in the morning. I've got Taco Bell for lunch, where I get myself my little cheese cup. Funny thing is my fat brother calls me in the same time as I make my order to Taco Bell. I hear him in the background. Yeah, do you guys still have those 1 boxes? He's at Taco Bell as well. I'm like, these fat kids in the Williams household, man. And then, last night, we go to dinner. It's Valentine's dinner. We go to Outback. I get my food, and I'm actually pretty good about what I eat when I was there.
Good.
But they have the Outback Down Under freaking chocolate molten cake.
Yeah.
And how do you leave there without pounding some of that, right?
You cannot. No.
Let's just chalk yesterday off.
Valentine's.
That's why my shirt isn't working today.
Well.
I went through 3 shirts this morning waiting for one to fit me.
There you go.
So there you go. There's my fat day of the week. Not moment, but day of the week.
Good.
So, go.
After you, no.
Man, it's been a struggle this week because we've been so incredibly busy, and we've had a couple of nights of going out for drinks with a big group and dinner with a big group and try and eat good. A couple of drinks, which I don't normally drink. Man, that's been a struggle for me, is the alcohol consumption this week. I think I had 5 total drinks this week, which is huge for me, and I feel it. And I feel it, and I walk away going completely empty calories. I don't feel any better for drinking. I don't enjoy it, really. I mean, the taste is whatever. So I just thought you just get back into these habits once you're around a certain activity, right? And we're having friends over for dinner tomorrow night, and I'm already like, what am I going to do, right? The other piece is meal. Yeah, exactly. The other piece is meal preps. And so I know when I have a busy day, I did a really crappy job this week of not prepping, and I found myself driving from Brighton down to the Wash Park office in a hurry. And I drive by, and I see a McDonald's, which I haven't eaten a McDonald's in quite some time. And I was like, I'm just going to pull in here. And I pull in, and there's a line around. And I'm like, well, I don't have time for this. So I pull out, and I'm like, I'm just whatever. So thankfully, I went to Whole Foods next door and got a couple slices of pizza. Just because it's at Whole Foods doesn't make it
right.
good.
It doesn't count, dude.
Doesn't count. It's still pizza. So I'm like,
Whole Foods, that pizza was way better.
But then yesterday, I did not anticipate my schedule again, and I found myself, I haven't had fast food all year until this week, and I went back-to-back days of getting Whole Foods and then Chick-fil-A yesterday. And it's so good going down, and then an hour later, I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
Did you at least get a shake with it?
No, I didn't.
Come
get a
on,
shake,
man.
It's
You
good.
gotta go fat. Go fat.
They do make a nice chicken sandwich.
They do.
They do. It's good.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So that was my meal planning.
Well, my guilty pleasure for food, there is a particular place that I love, and I love Denver. Born and raised here, grew up here, but I was fortunate enough to spend about 5 years in Manhattan, and I love sandwiches, and I love the food that I had access to when I lived in New York City. I do not think there's a better place in the world as far as the food scene and everything you can get there. And the place I lived, the last apartment I lived, it was right around the corner from Katz's Deli. And for those that don't know, Katz's Deli is started in the 1800s, one of the best Jewish delis in all of New York City, and it came into the public arena because it was the setting for the orgasm scene in When Harry Met Sally, and that's where that scene was filmed. But they make the best pastrami sandwich I've ever had, and I have a passion for that pastrami sandwich. There are some guys here in Denver doing a pretty decent pastrami over at Rosenberg's.
Yes.
And so I'll give those guys a shout out. Whenever I go out to Stapleton or I'm over near 5 Points, I love to pick up a pastrami sandwich. And it is a huge sandwich. I do feel guilty after I eat it. I'm not in my 20s anymore. I can't eat like I used to. And I try to be religious about my good eating and getting to the gym. But when I have an opportunity to get a big stack pastrami sandwich with some chips and a Dr. Brown's black cherry soda, that is my guilty pleasure. That's my fat boy. That's my fat boy.
What y'all doing after this?
What time do they close?
Right. I didn't have McDonald's yet today. Let's go there.
Right. Yeah. So pastrami
love it.
is my thing, and I love the sandwiches. They make a good one, but I can only do it every so often, or I would look a lot bigger than I do.
Or you would look like the
like
two
us.
ends.
Yeah,
So the two bookends over here, right? Well, man, I want to thank you so much for coming on, spending some time with us, letting us learn from you. Letting us know where you're headed in the future. We're excited for that. I'm super excited to see the new, buying on this.
We got some
looking all
cool stuff
sexy,
coming.
Right?
Yep.
But
The new
we
app.
appreciate everything
new
you're
app.
doing, man.
Yep.
It's phenomenal. You're doing a great thing for the industry. You're telling stories where people can relate, and you're just helping everything grow. And so I know you're humble about it, and we appreciate that. But just know you're doing amazing things. We look forward to it every month, and we couldn't thank you enough for coming on and helping us, just with our podcast and sharing that message with us.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. It's a privilege and an honor to be here. You guys are movers and shakers in this industry, two of my favorite people, and I'm lucky to know you both as friends and as business partners. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. It's been awesome, dude.
Yep.
You're amazing. If there's anything we can do going forward, we're here.
I'll put a
Let's go have
pastrami sandwich lunch
Yeah.
on the calendar.
That's what I'm
we'll,
talking about.
Deal.
do it. Yep.
Deal.
Hey, guys out there, thank you for plugging
Have a good
in. It's
weekend.
great to see y'all. You guys have a great weekend. Nothing but love for you. Pass the positive, and we'll see you next week.
Peace.